Sasquatch, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spearfinger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil Dog, Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee, Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeets. Snallygaster, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry, Wolfman, or Wolf County, need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the Bigfeet.
This here's Bigfeets, the only Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast, proudly sponsored by Big Bill's Big Shoes. Nobody tell him what the podcast is about or we'll lose everything. I'm Robert Brockway, size 11 triple E, ladies.
And I'm Sean Baby. And from 1975 to 1980, I reigned undefeated as full contact Kumite World Heavyweight Champion, where I broke 4 world records in a single tournament. Most consecutive knockouts, 56. Fastest knockout, 3.2 seconds. Fastest recorded kick with knockout, 72 miles an hour. And fastest recorded punch with knockout, 0.12 seconds.
Ladies.
And I am New York Times bestselling novelist Jason Pargin. And normally, here's where we will tell people that if you have not been listening to this podcast or watching the incredible TV show Mountain Monsters, to please go back and listen from the beginning. But I think you can come in here. And in fact, we're going to make an effort to catch you up because this show kind of reboots itself here. So if you somehow are stumbling across this, maybe from a link I posted on social media, we will try to catch you up. But there's a moment, maybe, I'm going to say 15 minutes from now, when you also are going to understand why this show is incredible and why we put our lives on hold to document it.
100%. I'm on board. We always say don't start from whatever episode we're on, even though they're Monster of the Week, literally. You should be able to start on them. I just think it's wonderful to watch them build this thing, but they took such a big swing with the last 2-part episode, and they really do start kind of fresh right here, and I think it is the right move. We will get into that, but first, Jason, where can people find more from you?
My newest book that is coming out in September, but is up for pre-order now, is called I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom. It is not part of any series. It is a standalone novel that, in theory, anyone could enjoy. Yes, it is also available for pre-order in audio. No, I do not read the audiobook. It would be awful if I did.
I think it would be great, but I'm sure whoever does it does a really good job. Is it Paul Giamatti?
No, I don't think so.
Is it Steven Seagal?
Fuck.
Is it Steven Seagal?
Is he doing the Jamaican accent the whole time? Because I'm back on board, baby. All right, Sean, where can people find more of you?
I co-founded a wonderful website called 1-900-HOT-DOG with my Bigfeets co-host, Robert Brockway. It's like the golden age of the internet when you would go online and instead of just burning time on social media, you would go to websites you enjoyed. So we do daily articles written by humans, talented humans with deep research and interest in making joke-dense, funny articles. And you could just kind of count on one every single day, just like you used to. Is that a good pitch?
The only thing you can still count on the internet, I would argue. Yeah, with you come support us and give us some money. And with enough of your pledges, I will be able to afford to sign up for our website. I can't wait to read what we've been writing.
You've written some really good stuff. I can't wait for you to see it.
That's incredible. I love me. I can't wait to find more me. Hey, speaking of more me, we also do, me and Sean and Jason quite a bit, do the Dog Zone 9000 podcast. That's the 1-900 Hot Dog podcast, where we just do whatever the hell we want. It's all cursed objects. It's all media that shouldn't exist. And we just finished, I can't believe I'm saying this, a 3-episode series on an episode of television written by 2 people who had one idea, and that idea was kind of Tarzan. And they just managed to rewrite, I want to say 15% of a single script over and over again through 3 entire shows across a decade. And we had to do 3 episodes of it because it was fascinating that they tried to make this one feral wolf girl script, that was what it was about, work when their hero was a manimal, guy who can turn into any animal and also communicate and control animals. The second hero they did was the wizard, who was a little person toy genius for the government. And the third was Thunder in Paradise, which was Hulk Hogan and a sentient speedboat. So they took one storyline and were like, how little do we have to change for a manimal, a wizard, and a Hulk Hogan speedboat? And it was one of the most fascinating storytelling exercises I think I've ever done. No other podcast or piece of media would devote 3 entire episodes to one episode of television like that. And I argue we probably shouldn't either, but I'm glad we did. It was a lot of fun.
And do want to also note that the Patreon that funds that show and that website also funds this, because of course we do not have any sponsors other than our friends at Blue Apron. If you want a free meal box every week, if instead of ordering DoorDash from a restaurant, if you want the ingredients from your meal raw and separately packaged that you then have to spend half an hour cooking and creating a tremendous amount of waste, just enter offer code Defile Bigfoot's Grave.
We have to say something criminally liable so that's not a real, people don't think that was real and you were just having fun.
I got a human hand in the mail from Blue Apron.
All of mine were scorpions, live scorpions. I made scorpion gumbo. It was pretty good, but I did poison a lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of people, thanks to Blue Apron.
I don't even know if that's the name of the company. Is it Blue Apron? I know I've listened to so many podcasts.
That sounds right.
Never stuck in my brain.
It's that or Casper, who also sent me a mattress full of scorpions. You won't believe it.
And I subscribe to Scorpion Box, which surprisingly enough sends me affordable and nutritious meals ready to eat.
Oh, God. See, that's what
disappointed.
I should be doing. Disappointed no matter what you do. No, we don't have any sort of sponsors. In fact, we pay quite a bit of money just to do this for free because we want to.
What the fuck are we doing?
You're going to listen to this episode. A little insider trading. We record 2 episodes at a time because we can't get together that often. We're all busy adult human beings, and so we can afford one session every once in a while to talk about hillbilly monster LARPing, which is what this show is about. And the next episode and the next 2 episodes 21 and 22 of our podcast, are my favorite episodes we've ever done. That's why we pay so much to do this, so that I have an excuse to talk to my friends about them, because they're fucking so good. They're so good. I can't wait to get into them. A real quick primer, as we said, if you do choose this episode at random to start listening to the show, I think you're okay. We've always historically said, don't do that. Listen to them from the start, because it's incredible. It's not so much the continuity. They don't really make you know what happens episode to episode up until about now. Now they will start doing that. But just watching them slowly invent the rules of storytelling, like nobody had ever told them a story before in their lives, and they just went out into the woods and are discovering the joy of it for themselves. It's beautiful and it's magical, but they went out on such a big swing with the Grassman's Revengeance, which was the finale of their last season, that they decided to reboot the entire show to focus ostensibly on Bigfoot. They say we're on a quest for Bigfoot now, and
their motivation has changed. We sent them a lot of notes through time, and I think they learned some on their own, but here they are rebooting. They seem to have a vision of what the show is trying to do, whereas before, we would usually complain about how, what are they going to do when they get that? Are they going to call the dog catcher to get that hellhound? Are they going to execute it in the woods? Why do they want to kill this Bigfoot? And sometimes they would create motivations in the episode, and now they're kind of broadly paranormal investigators. Like they're trying to prove that these things exist now.
They're slowly getting organized. So,
Yeah.
as an overall picture, Mountain Monsters is supposed to be a reality show. It's not a fiction show. It's not like Supernatural. It's like one of those ghost hunter shows where a bunch of hillbillies go out into the woods of West Virginia and adjacent territories, and they pretend to see and hear various monsters. Only unlike those ghost hunting shows where, I mean, you can't catch a real ghost, so they have to be like, oh no, what a spooky noise. Here, they fist fight a Bigfoot every single episode.
Yeah.
Often within, I want to say, about 3 minutes of arriving at the woods. Just rotten, lousy with big feet, these woods, is getting to be a serious problem. The cast is Trapper, he's the leader. Huckleberry is Bigfoot security. Buck is their rookie, but I think he's probably their second in command by now, and he's always the husky ninja of my heart. Jeff is their piss-soaked hillbilly research scientist and giant man baby. Willie is the actual trapper who builds the death traps that they will all fall into one day. Wild Bill is, hard quotes here, he's the tracker. He's really just, I think we've established he's the Orko. He's the weird comic relief.
Right.
He's there to fall out of trees and smoke a bunch of meth and just try to stab Bigfoot with a knife. Oh, and he's going to eat all of the monsters. That's a recurring thing well, you know what? I don't know that he's mentioned that in this reboot, so I'm going to stop saying that. And I'll give him credit until he says, I'm going to eat Mothman's ass again. Because he did say that. He did say that in one episode.
He's more of a battle cat than an Orko, I guess.
Yeah.
A couple of things to note. This is the final episode in which Buck will be credited as the rookie.
Oh.
Is that true? I didn't notice that in the next episode.
For some reason, it was the first episode of season 2, and the HBO Max orders the first episode of season 3 as they aired originally. They still had him as a rookie until he presumably complained. And listeners, if you're new and you're wondering, well, but who are these men? Why do they have a TV show where they get to pretend to hunt Bigfoot? We can find no indication of what they were doing prior to filming this show. What we do know is they had no previous reputation or documented evidence of making TV, hunting things, or doing anything related. Our entire fascination with this is a group of 6 guys who seem to have no experience doing television in any capacity, who somehow convinced the cable channel Destination America to give them a show where they would hunt for Bigfeet around their homes. And so they improvise a Bigfoot fight every episode, and it has been going for 8 seasons, going on 9 in real life. They are still doing
season
it.
9 approved.
We cannot necessarily take credit for that, but I hope we had some part in them getting a new season.
That was us. It was on the fence, but as soon as we started doing this podcast, then they confirmed it. They knew. That was us. I'm taking that one. So we are watching, first of all, like all of the best shows, there is no official order to watch any of the episodes in. So we are watching Mountain Monsters Season 2, Episode 1, according to the order on HBO Max, which is the one we've arbitrarily decided on. It might be something else, but the episode itself is called Bigfoot of Central Kentucky, if you need to get on the same page as us. Now, I did not notice that thing about Buck not being the rookie anymore. Of the events of the next 2 episodes, I am developing a theory about that. I'm excited to talk about what that might mean. But for now, man, we are blowing up the format. There's been such a traditional format to this show, and a lot of it's still there, but it starts to get heavily tweaked as of right now. And that starts with Trapper in the new intro, where he says, as long as there's been man in Central Kentucky, there's been sightings of Bigfoot. The quest has begun.
Just now. No one has ever thought of investigating Bigfoot until now.
Also, it's not like they haven't encountered Bigfoot. I want to say more than half of their episodes up to this point have been encountering some subspecies of Bigfoot, of which there are thousands. So it's very interesting to say the quest has begun now, after we've fought and possibly killed several
Specifically,
Bigfoot.
the quest to prove there's Bigfoot where they live. Like, this is what when he says the quest, he means the quest to prove that Bigfoot exists. In the previous episode, one of their crew was sent to the hospital by Bigfoot.
Bigfoot door checked Buck into the fucking hospital.
Bigfoot smashed Buck in the face with a door and sent him to the emergency room. They have as good of proof as they're going to get.
Don't know why, but it's the act of seeing something use a door strikes me as like the biggest proof of like, you can no longer doubt that exists if it's working door handles. I don't know why that is in my head, but it's such like a
Hellhound would have left a
pedestrian
dog-shaped
act.
hole in the drywall.
Right, like it phases through a wall. No, you got no proof. But if it's like, what do I pull? Do I just pull? All right, I see. then yeah, Bigfoot you could get his fingerprints. They could dust that knob and get Bigfoot's fingerprints.
If that cameraman hadn't been literally hugging Buck at the time, if he was just like 6 inches further back, we would have had photographic evidence of Bigfoot using a door and knocking a man over. It's just that's 6 inches away.
It was all last episode, and we're starting again from square zero, just trying to prove he exists. We have seen him on camera a few times, just like a flash. I believe both Trapper and Buck have been grabbed by him. Like, they have actually been shaken like a crying baby by Bigfoot at various points in the episodes up till now.
They've had multiple logs thrown at them by Bigfeet.
Mm-hmm.
They've had several of their little forest golf carts ruined by Bigfeet, which means they had to have filed Bigfeet insurance claims. So they got he's on their tax records. Like, they wrote it off because of Bigfoot damages. It could not be. He's a big part of your lives, legitimately, at this point. But whatever, we're here. The quest has begun, and we're out to solve the biggest mystery of all, specifically Bigfoot. So let it move to her. I mean, foot open, everyone. We're going Bigfoot. So we start off with Trapper's truck briefing, which is how these episodes start anyway. But the tone is very different. Mm-hmm. Before, it's very much a research Q&A kind of thing, where each member of the team will add something, will ask a question about the monster. They'll sort of establish what they're hunting. And in this one, they're doing a new thing where Trapper will just kind of get them pumped up. Like, he's just like, yeah, we're going to fucking find Bigfoot. And everybody just kind of yells and screams. And there's not really any questions. And there's not nearly as much like exposition. It's not a truck briefing anymore. It's a Bigfoot pep rally. Is that fair to say, you think?
I agree, which I think makes Jeff twice as useless as he was. If we don't even need to read Wikipedia anymore, because Trapper gives them the important details and then rallies them.
And then it's their job to holler and clap.
Yeah.
It's a very strange decision. So Trapper says, we're after the Midnight Whistler. And now this is the first Bigfoot to emerge from the Mammoth Caves. Immediately, you have so many questions. We're going to start with one. Is the Midnight Whistler a real monster in the sense that it was established in folklore before this show, or is it something they're making up for this episode?
I didn't even look it up. I'm going to say no.
It's really tough to say because the internet doesn't work anymore because all of society is in a long, slow decay. But as near as I can tell, the Midnight Whistler is a mountain monster's creation, or at least anywhere that makes reference to the Midnight Whistler uses word for word what they say in this show, often with the little CGI rendering. So,
Sean, you may like the fact that if you try to Google the phrase Midnight Whistler, you find tons of bars called that.
Nice.
It's
so I think I see their research, how they do their research.
I feel like the new listeners, when he says the phrase, the first Bigfoot, this is the first Bigfoot to emerge from the Mammoth Caves, I feel like a lot of the new listeners are going to say, well, now you guys lied to me. Because clearly there's hours and hours of lore he's referencing that he surely explained in the first season. And now I'm totally confused because to me, that phrase, he's the first Bigfoot to emerge from the Mammoth Caves, that sounds like a string of nonsense because I'm coming in cold. I assure you, listeners, it means just as little to us, and we have analyzed every frame of this show that exists. We have watched every episode multiple times. I assure you, no one on Earth knows what he means by that.
Well, I took it to mean that he was born of Kentucky Cave. He's a sedimentary creature from the Appalachian Court. I just took that as what he was saying.
Trapper is going to elaborate on that. I said explain first. That's the wrong That's the wrong usage. He's not going to explain a goddamn thing. He's going to elaborate on that, and it's going to get even weirder when he does. But right now, no, you're not missing anything. That's just my question. That was even in my notes of what did I miss something? Did I miss something? Like I had to think back to the other episodes. Are we talking? But no, we've just like everybody knows that the big feet come from Mammoth Caves. This was the first one. So Trapper says, over the last 10 years, this team has proved to itself that there are over a dozen clans of Bigfoot.
And again, listeners, I assure you, all of this is brand new information to us as well. Mm-hmm. The 10 years part. 10 years! What are you talking about?
The show hasn't been on 10 years. We're on season 2.
And to be clear, every time they fight a monster on this show, or in the first season, they were meeting it for the first time. This wasn't like, this is clan number 11 of Bigfeet. They're like, we've never fought a monster like this. This is bigger and scarier than, like, just to be clear.
In the first episode, I think they did say we've been a team for 7 years hunting cryptids before this, but then every single time they came to a monster, they're like, this is brand new. They at various points say we've never fought a monster who could jump. They said that. they never fought a monster.
We've never seen prints like this is a favorite line of theirs. Yeah. It's like, really?
So they dropped that almost immediately. I guess maybe they're trying to bring their expertise back a little bit here. I like the phrasing that this team has proved to itself the only people it needs to prove anything to.
They're the skeptics.
Yes. Who else would you prove the existence of Bigfoot to, if not Bigfoot experts like us? Therefore,
they are skeptics, though. Like, remember when Jeff said that the pig monster had small, crude, usable hands, and Buck's like, shut the fuck up. So, I mean, it doesn't have hands, Jeff. Like
they're Jeff skeptics, for sure.
Sometimes they'll tell Jeff to shut up. But other than that, they believe anything that you tell them.
So there are over a dozen clans of Bigfoot. This is new, too. I don't think clans of Bigfoot have been mentioned. Certainly subspecies and different types, but now they're organized into, like Highlander clans?
Yeah.
It's a bold new decision.
Class systems. It's like, there's some wealth inequality in the Bigfoot community. We don't need to get into that right now.
So Trapper says, the Midnight Whistler is 6.5 to 7.5 feet tall, 400 or 500 pounds, with glowing green eyes. What he doesn't say, but what the CGI model says, is that it has real luscious thighs covered in just dense fur you could get tangled up and lost in. He does reiterate that it is, and real hard quotes here, completely nocturnal. So it looks like they've taken several of our producer notes drifting down on rainbow snowflakes from Out of Time. They have opened up their little mouths and caught them and tasted them and went, wait a minute, if something's 7.5 feet tall, could it maybe not weigh 3,000 pounds? Like maybe there's something off there.
6.5 to 7.5 feet tall. So if it's only 6.5 feet tall, that's Sean baby height.
Yes.
So 6.5 feet tall and 500 pounds. You're not picturing something like they're rendering. You're picturing something perfectly spherical.
Yeah, you're picturing Buck. Those are Buck proportions.
That. It's not a super me. It's like a fat me.
Well, that's why you have me.
Like this is 500 pounds is conceivable. Like if Shaquille O'Neal came back someday at 500 pounds, you'd say, wow, Shaquille O'Neal got fat. Not like, what has God created?
Yeah, it's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, They have previously said this is 6 feet tall. It's 900 pounds. Like, they have defied physics in their descriptions. Yeah. This is within reason. It's wrong, but it's within reason. And they have also further taken the note of saying it's completely nocturnal. Therefore, we have to hunt it at night. So that's the first time they've ever gotten that note. They will only hunt at night because it's more dramatic, because they can get away with filming just a bunch of black space and going, oh my God, what's that? But now they are actually realize that they can bake that premise into the show. And this is a huge signifier because they realize that about a lot. They start baking all of the weaknesses of this show into the fiction, like we've been saying the whole time. It's fucking crazy. So Jeff goes on to say, even though he doesn't need to now, he goes on to inject, the Midnight Whistler was first spotted 3,000 to 4,000 years ago by the Iroquois Indians. Now I'm going to be a little bit racist here. Maybe we can cut this, but do we have written Indian records back that far?
The Iroquois go back about 600 years. And before that, they were humans in the area, but they were not as far as the Iroquois Nation. No, they do not go back 3,000 years.
So 4,000. He said 3,000 to 4,000. So
this is Jeff hearing how just Trapper went off the chain with his. Well, we found a dozen clans of Bigfeet. It's like, all right, all bets are off, bitch. We're fine. You know what? The Iroquois first spotted this thing 4,000 years ago. It's just. We are not checking. I'm not going off Wikipedia. I'm not going off any existing lore. We're not borrowing the lore from some existing known cryptid. I'm just going to start pulling numbers out of my ass. If you can do it, I can do it too. And you cannot check me on this because then I will say, name the dozen Bigfoot clans, Trapper.
Yep.
Yes. I bet you. See, Trapper's so good. I bet you he could. I bet you he would name, and they would kick ass. They would be like Warriors gang names.
It would just be a list of the bars he likes, like the Midnight Whistler, Nancy's Topless Juice Bar,
the Copper Penny.
Yeah, the Copper Penny Marys.
I love that this is the first episode. It's our chance for a fresh start. It's a chance for a reboot. We all know it. And Jeff starts it off by being the wrongest he's ever been. The provably wrongest he's been by several orders of magnitude.
And with a desperate speed, too. Like, it's like they say, Jeff, we'll give you 5 fucking seconds, but it better be awesome. He says, go. Iroquois is 4,000 years.
So they do say the Midnight Whistler is called that because he whistles, and Buck gives a really pathetic little whistle. And Trapper calls him out and says, like, no, it's a big manly whistle, like a steam engine. So this is, I think they realized in the car as they're inventing this thing on the fly. Does whistling make it sound a little pantsy? Does that make it sound like a jaunty little friendly
like
bard?
Got a
Is this the
flute?
Bigfoot bard? Yeah. And they're like, no, wait, no, it's like a train. He's a train whistler. Now here's what Trapper says next. It's so good. It's what I mentioned earlier. It's not an explanation, it's an elaboration. But what he says next is, I believe every Bigfoot in the Appalachian Territory originated in these mammoth caves in central Kentucky. Holy shit. He says there's like a Bigfoot prime. There's like a Bigfoot mothership.
That's where the first Bigfoot egg was laid.
And the Midnight Whistler is somehow the key to unlocking all Bigfeet. Like this grand Bigfoot conspiracy. We've got to catch this whistling bastard.
Science is a little unclear about some of this, but science has always been certain that Bigfoot started with a whistle. And that I think he's taking that theory and running with it.
He's going to go out with a bang, but he started with a lovely little whistle. So Huckleberry calls back to what happened in the big finale before we sort of soft rebooted the whole concept, which was in Grassman's Revengeance, where, as we mentioned, Bigfoot opened a door into him really hard. I can't even
took its ability to whistle.
So Huckleberry asks how Buck feels about going after more Bigfeet after the Grassman fucking door checked him into oblivion. And Buck has a note from his mom, and it says, Trapper, you have not been very careful with my baby Buck. If you continue putting him in such danger, you will be in danger. Love, Buck's mama. And Trapper, I think he looks intrigued by that. I don't think he jokes that he's scared, but he gets a real, like, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Kind of look on his face.
He had Willie build Buck's mama trap for sure.
But again, for our new listeners, I realized that you just approximately in showtime, maybe 2 minutes earlier, Trapper said the phrase, "We're on a quest to prove that Bigfoot is not fiction." And then 90 seconds to 2 minutes after that says, "So, Buck, how are you recovering from when Bigfoot hit you in the face with a door 2 months ago?" Like, all right. And we captured on an HD camera that was 1 foot away.
It's such a bold decision to reboot the stakes, but not reboot the history.
Yes.
I think what frustrates me is their lack of frustration. How, like, they're not, God damn it, we were so close to capturing the Bigfoot. Because they're talking about, like, we got to prove it, but, like, this is the 20th time they've had hand-to-hand combat with the creature, and they still don't have, like, good evidence. And I feel like this should be a motivating force. They should be really frustrated by this.
It was implied that Trapper himself has fucked some Bigfeet.
That's true.
Like, that happened in an episode. They implied that Trapper has had sex with some Bigfeet. Did you fuck a story? Did you fuck fiction? How did it feel, Trapper? No, man, they exist. So we go to our first witness, and they always go find a hillbilly witness out in the middle of nowhere with some real identifiable headgear because they're all 50-something white men that look the same, and you would never discern them without it. But this time they found a husband and wife, and I cannot reiterate how rare a woman is in this play space. Like,
another note they had to have gotten from somebody.
Surely.
This seemed like a couple of normies at first. Like, it's Eric and Wavy were their names. Totally hatless.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a couple of people, like, it says they're landowners, but these two run like an auto spa or a hardware store or something. But then as they started talking, I'm like, no, he's the human. And if you told me that he found this feral woman trapped in his fence, I'd believe you. Like, she seems like a swamp Morlock that he hosed off and taught to speak. And he seems like a totally normal dude that has a log cabin.
Wavy, girl. Wavy,
Yes.
girl. So this is they're boring as shit on the surface. I mean, you see them and you're like, "Where's our headgear? These just look like people that you'd find at the mall." It sucks. But then they start talking, and what happened was that Eric was outside playing his harmonica, and he found out that harmonica playing, at least the way he does it, infuriates the Bigfeets. The Midnight Whistler just instantly started bellowing right back at him, and what his first instinct was to continue playing the harmonica outside at night, even as Bigfoot came closer and closer and closer to him. And Trapper instantly knows what this means. He says, "I believe your harmonica playing was sounding to Bigfoot like an immature Bigfoot in distress."
Amazing.
Listeners, when I promised earlier that in 15 to 20 minutes you would understand why we consider this show to be the best thing ever made and why we've devoted our lives to it, this is why. They talked to their first witnesses who has encountered this Bigfoot they call a Midnight Whistler. And just in case you're confused, they refer to all of these humanoid hairy creatures as Bigfeet, but they all have their own name. So it's the Midnight Whistler, but it is also a Bigfoot. But this guy's story is he is playing the harmonica, and then a Bigfoot starts whistling back at him. And Trapper, based on that and no other knowledge any human could possibly have, says, well, you know what happened? I bet that an immature Bigfoot in distress sounds like a harmonica. And listeners, you're probably saying, well, now hold on. Are they going to go out and hunt the Bigfoot with a harmonica and use that as a call? You bet your ass they are.
Fucking right.
Buckle up. Welcome to the party.
I would have laid my life that according to how Mountain Monsters has gone to this point, in my notes, like my chronological notes, I wrote down here, there's no way they're bringing that harmonica.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They don't understand how stories are built. So they built the scene in Old Mountain Monsters. They would never have brought that harmonica. Like, this would have been, they would have forgot about that scene totally.
Agreed.
But they brought the fucking harmonica.
They did a thing here that is another trope of the show that I always love, where someone will have an elaborate story to explain why they have a camera. And this guy did that about a harmonica. He's like, well, I'm a musician, and I've always wanted to play the harmonica. And he's got this long setup to why a person might have a harmonica. And then while I'm putting that in my notes, like, oh, this is very silly. Then we find out that this whole time harmonicas have been the sounds of tormented Bigfoot children. And then I'm thinking, like, how many people are in the woods right now? Somebody like Bruce Willis was just going on TV and playing harmonica. How many Sasquatch has Bob Dylan declared war on? And
so there's a few implications I want to dig into also. We have previously said, no, that's not how he sounds. It's not like a little pansy whistle. He sounds like a fucking freight train coming at you. So this guy was out on his porch and he played like a fun little harmonica note. And what came back was, whoa! And like, he was like, huh, what is that? And he played his little harmonica note and it came back louder. And he was like, huh, I feel like that's getting louder. Not like, did somebody reroute a train into my house? So, and secondly, This does not establish, they say like, oh, maybe he could have been in your house. Well, he could have been in your house because he was trying to save a crying child. This is a hero, Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop playing the fucking harmonica at night. It sounds like dying babies, and he's trying to help. Like, we have not established why we need to catch this Bigfoot. If anything, we've established he's to be lauded and given Big Feet medals.
Trapper does come on and say that they're here to prove it exists. Like they for probably the third or fourth time, they reiterate, like, that's what our goal here is.
Right, but this is in response to, I believe it's Huckleberry who says next time he could be in your house. So they,
Right.
whatever their new mission, they still have it in their DNA to be like, we have to establish this is a
Yes.
threat. Because they established this is a threat, not just that he's present.
No, they're going
Right.
to pivot from merely proving he exists very quickly. And it's the whole theme of, well, these things are just responding to the sound of a baby in distress. We're gonna elaborate on that a little bit, because you're kind of getting a hint like, well, hold on, maybe the Ames team are the real monsters, but we'll get into it.
So we move on to our night investigation, a customary night investigation. We do it behind Eric and Wavy's cabin where they first heard this noise. And they brought that harmonica, and Huckleberry is playing little notes that I will remind you within fiction are the screams of tiny babies. He's using the screams of tiny babies to lure in a Bigfoot, a hero Bigfoot. Now, they establish, this is so crazy. They say, okay, now, the Midnight Whistler, he has super night vision so intense, he's going to be blinded by all light. That's why he can't come out in daylight, because he has night vision. And as Buck says, if you flip on light in night vision, you're going completely blind. So you would assume, in like any other story, this is going to come in real handy. Like this is now, we have Bigfoot rules. We have rules to the monster that we can exploit. It's kind of a superpower. It's kind of a weakness. How are they going to use this? We'll find out. We'll find out.
Also, I don't think that's how nocturnal animals work. I don't think they're blind. I don't think they're
Yeah.
blinded.
Also,
I don't
how
think
do you
they
know
have like
this?
night vision scope sight.
How do you have any of this information?
Because you've just said that you've never encountered him and nobody knows anything about him.
I think the
How do you know
Iroquois
that?
wrote it down about 4,000 years ago.
4,000 years ago in their Iroquois pyramids, of course.
Also, can I point out when it first cuts to them doing the night investigation, they get a shot with a spider in a web in the foreground. And then the team walks behind it, and then they focus off the spider, and then it becomes blurry and get the team. It looks great. It's a great shot. Like
Yeah.
they found that
Beautiful
spider, they
filming.
found it in the web, they set up the camera and the lights there and had the team walk in front of it. It's the most cinematic shot in the whole show. It's legitimately a cool shot. And they didn't have to do that effort, but they did.
Plus, it foreshadows how the monster will trap them in their own hubris. how they are the ones who will be trapped by this premise that they've invented where they can never win.
The spider just tangled up in its own web, thrashing around while
and
flies
dying.
taunted.
So now it's time to lock and load. Now, this is a customary thing. It's kind of a new custom as far as they go. Where Trapper will say, lock and load, boys, and then they play like the shotgun cocking sounds. And what in this scene more than any others is emphasized is that they all think lock and load means touching a different part of the shotgun. And that's great to me. It's like somebody touches it on the top, somebody touches it on the bottom, somebody touches it on the stock, somebody touches it on the barrel. Like, but each one makes the cocking sound.
Yes. Amazing.
It's wonderful. That's something, if you're a new listener, this is the most horrendous gun safety you will ever see, but also for good old boys who have spent their whole life out in the woods hunting, not a single one of them has even seen a gun before. Like apes would figure out a gun this far into the like 2 seasons in. An ape would have figured out this gun by now.
Yeah, for
And they're
people who are new to this, I cannot emphasize this enough, that it's not just that these guys clearly don't have acting experience. It's that it's not a group of hunters who convinced this network to give them a show. They clearly are not hunters. Like, they'll talk about it, they'll claim it. The way they use the guns, the way they handle them, they're not familiar with. No, I'm sorry.
None of them have touched a gun before.
Which is weird, because you think they would have.
Right, it's not like that's an exotic skill set in America that you have to be like a deep woods hillbilly. Like fucking a lot of people have got that are just like live in cities.
Yeah, I own 4 guns.
Well, okay, there you go.
That's more than anyone
worrisome.
on this show.
That's 4 more than me.
Not on the podcast, on the show Mountain Monsters. That's 4 more guns than anyone on Mountain Monsters own. Whoever lent them these guns was very careful not to give them any bullets.
So they set out to find a trail and hear like a snapping branch. They've already found Bigfoot. It's been like a minute. Huckleberry plays the harmonica and the Midnight Whistler kind of knocks back, which you would assume he'd whistle. He does not. Huckleberry, like, what? Is it because they established that he doesn't make a human whistle? Like they got insecure and they fucked up their whole premise, which is that they could have somebody out in the woods just whistle at them and they'd be like, oh no. But now it has to sound like a freight train and they don't have that. You think that's why, like, he's knocking instead of whistling? Because he doesn't whistle.
Well, I mean, specifically saying that it sounds like a train, that usually is a cue to the sound effects team. Yeah, it's track number 14 on our Halloween sound effects DVD CD, the train whistle.
This time it was a cue to the sound effects team to fucking ignore him and do nothing.
Yep.
They didn't. Instead of that, they did nothing. So Huckleberry answers on the harmonica again, but no response. So they follow this path they find to a creek, which is Buck's old nemesis. He almost died in 4 inches of water. Trapper finds some pawpaw leaves, and instantly, Trapper bullshits that they are a very sweet fruit this time of year. So, therefore, the Midnight Whistler is running along carrying a bunch of them in his arms, snacking as he goes along.
He recreated it. He can just see like a pile of leaves and be like, recreate an entire crime scene, an entire battle, an entire society.
And what he's recreated is the most adorable fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Just a Bigfoot with his arms crossed and piled high with sweets as he tries to like balance way too many, just chomping down on them hands free like Huck Finn.
Yeah,
like fucking like a fucking toddler.
A Bigfoot with a rolling pin running outside. Who took my pawpaws?
Not an armload of human heads. Not an armload,
Right.
An armload of anything else that would be like terrifying. It's just no. It was just after his adventurous evening where he tried to rescue what he thought was a child in distress. He went and got a snack and was bouncing along, humming a little song to himself, eating his fruit.
Whistling his jaunty tune and snacking on his
as
fruits.
he has done for 4,000 years without ever having bothered or injured anyone in that entire time. He is Tom Bombadil.
He's fucking.
They're going to kill
cute.
Tom Bombadil.
They're gonna blow his ass to smithereens. Trapper. So they stumble after this. They stumble right into his Bigfoot nest. Again, this has been 3 minutes of exploring in the woods, and they found Bigfoot's nest.
Yeah.
It is just a cleared space in the shrubs. They make a big deal about how, oh my god, this is the biggest nest I have ever found. It's an 8-foot diameter circle. It's like a child's first fort.
But like, hold on a second. Like, we're done, right? Like, think of the jackpot of DNA in this place. Like the fur and the poop, semen, harmonicas. Like, you get one scientist out here, and he'll be like, none of this is in the GenBank database. Like, whatever played this harmonica was no man or ape known to science. And then, ta-da! Like they're standing in their goal. Like they've just proved Bigfoot exists just now.
I mean, my god, the only conclusive evidence that would be more convincing is if we had some sort of like doorknob you could dust for Bigfoot fingerprints,
or 20 episodes of a show with high definition
he didn't
footage
grab
of us.
any of you, did he?
We've all been grabbed, yes, sir.
They further find a big pile of walnuts. It's his walnut stash. What the fuck are they doing?
Again, not human heads.
Or even their bones. They have this bag of bones they usually plant in the animal nest. Like, my God, his thirst for blood is growing out of control. And it's like, no, they didn't even bring the bones this time. But I also want to point out this is something for the Mountain Monsters drinking game. Occasionally, Trapper will see where the team has made a prop in the woods. Like, this is a nest. Like, obviously, they or their production team just put some sticks and kind of made like a little thing. And then he says, and then he'll say something to kind of compliment the prop building. Like, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Here he says, it took a human-type intelligence to build this.
Yeah, it's hard to say if that was a compliment or an insult to the
Nodding
Death
toward
Star.
Huckleberry or whoever
Yeah.
put those sticks out there. Like,
Yeah, thanks, man. That's the nicest. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. So ordinarily, this is the point in a Mountain Monsters episode where we would quit and go home. And we would all yell at the screen, just come back tomorrow when it's asleep. But holy shit, what they knew next is crazy. They come back tomorrow when it's asleep. They say the word, we're just going to come back. It's like their AI jumped 10 generations overnight. It's fucking crazy that they have come to that conclusion. Like, all bets are off what happens in this show now.
here's the thing. I feel like some listeners are saying, well, now we understand that the creature is nocturnal, so the hunt, when you actually go to catch it, we understand why that needs to be at night. But it sounds like this first investigation is just to look for nest, prints, that kind of thing. Why wouldn't that be done during the day when you can see? Those are all good questions. But here they actually do say, you know what? Yeah, it'd make more sense to come back during the day when we know that he's asleep. That would actually be much safer and we could
it doesn't
more easily
sound
see.
like much, but we cannot overstate how out of fucking bounds that is for this show. For them to jump to that conclusion and say, we've established he is completely blind in the daytime, totally helpless. He's 100% nocturnal. He'll be asleep in this nest. We found it. Let's just come back here, throw this fruit and nut eating child hero in a net and dissect him for science. Job done, boys. They did it. They got there, and that's incredible. The implications for this show shook to the very foundations. We do need to now check in on Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack, where they build meth-fueled traps for Bigfeet.
I want to point something out about Wild Bill here, because he's part of the reboot, part of the rebranding. They cut to him and he's reading the Bible. And then, because normally we just see Wild Bill and if you don't know him, you're just like, oh, okay, this guy's on meth. They found a maniac. But here he goes to camera and he says, the word of God gives me the wisdom and knowledge of the United States Marine Corps, gives me the karate and bravery to hunt these Bigfoots. And so he is like this character that he's like stating. This is not like consistent, but you can tell he's like, I'm going to reintroduce myself.
I can tell you that I've watched several episodes ahead of the season. They quickly dropped this, but they absolutely decided to retcon Wild Bill as a Christian because they don't have that on the team. And it'll last through the rest of this episode, and then they're going to drop it. That to me is the funniest thing that's ever been done in the show.
He was so eager to revitalize himself. He's like, okay, well, it's finally my chance to have a thing. Wild Bill, you have so many fucking things. You have more things than anybody else on the show. You don't need another one. He's like, no. I know what will make me lovable to the fans. I'm going to rebrand myself as a meth-fueled Bigfoot paladin.
Yep. What's weird, though, is he is a devout Muslim in real life.
There may be some confusion on some of the listeners because we mentioned we're going to these two guys who are building the trap. This is the trap team. It's Wild Bill and Willie are the two trap guys. And some listeners like, I'm extremely confused. Who's this trapper? Trapper is not their trap guy. Right. Wild Bill and Willie are the two trap guys. Trapper does nothing with traps whatsoever. That's just his name. I don't know why this is confusing. They just call him Trapper. Likewise, Wild Bill's title on the team is Expert Tracker. He has never tracked even one thing ever in the entire run of the show. That's just what they call him because I guess by law you have to have a title to handle this equipment. I don't know.
If you had to give him a title that was appropriate, I think you'd call him a tree up man. No, because he's definitely not a tree down man.
He's a Willie Wrangler, right? No, I hear how that sounds.
I think Willie is the Wild Bill Wrangler.
You're right. That sounds much better. Let's phrase it like that.
They do like a full, like Sam Raimi style equipment scene here where they snap zoom to him like rubbing mud on himself, putting on the ghillie suit, putting on knives, doing the okay sign with his fingers. Like this is a full like thing that they're doing. This is a full like, let's introduce the audience to this character.
Right. He brought a ghillie suit. And why did he bring a ghillie suit? To ambush his friend Willie. he coats himself in mud like the Predator, dresses up in a ghillie suit, elaborately crawls through all of the brush to surprise his friend Willie in the middle of starting a chainsaw, which is the worst possible time to surprise anybody. It doesn't end with him chainsawed to death only because Wild Bill has made some sort of deal with some sort of god. Some Bigfoot god? Possibly? I don't know. He's immortal, and he shouldn't be. He does not use this on the actual Bigfoot. It's only a Willie bit. It's only for Willie. And he is now a ghillie suit wearing Christian Bigfoot paladin. That's the character.
An entire sequence reintroducing his character. He's a Christian. He has a ghillie suit. He's an expert at hiding himself in the bush. No, he's not. He's not any of that. Congratulations. Here's the reboot of this character, and never mind.
Yeah, he's more like a noisy 8-year-old. If he sees a toy, he grabs it, plays with it. That's his character.
He has, on several occasions, got too excited by seeing a Bigfoot and ran out into the woods to die alone. So it's the opposite. This is the one character who cannot rebuild into stealth. You have committed the points into meth impulse warrior, and you can't respec out of that. You can't respec out of that into stealth. They're opposite. Yep. They're opposite trees. Willie's the trap builder, and he's building a boosh camouflage trap. That's how he says it. It's adorable. And what he does this time is he pulls out a fucking scale model of the trap. So we have graduated from crude child's drawings on like recycled notebook paper to entire scale models. I'm so impressed. Now it is a scale model of some sticks bent into kind of a rough dome shape. So, we didn't need that, but
it's weird how close this was to the Bigfoot nest they found earlier.
That's so good that they did this. That's so good. It's so, give them points though. Like, this is what any movie, any production would have done first thing, right? They would have said, we need to establish that the nest and the trap are saying, well, we'll just shoot inside the trap and then say, oh, we've recreated this perfectly. Yeah. That's what they did. Like that, when they found Bigfoot's nest, that was the trap they built. And now they are saying, well, we have to replicate his trap or his nest with this trap. So it's movie making 101, but they've been on like movie making 9 until now. They've been on severely remedial classes. For them to graduate is incredible. I'm so proud of them. I'm just so proud of them across the board this episode. It's amazing that they I feel like they studied or something.
Yeah, it's really good. They also let Wild Bill try chainsawing, which was something he's always very excited to watch, but never got a chance to do himself. He's terrible at it, by the way. Like, he's trying to... You look at the tree he's chainsawing, it just looks like a bear tripped and fell into it. There's just, like, little marks everywhere where he kind of missed and gave up and started sawing and forgot about it.
No, he chainsaws all the time. It's just we usually cut away from the part, like, really quickly because it definitely gets kicked back and hits him right in the face every single time. Right. But he just can't die, so that he just give me a minute, bro. I'm gonna heal up. Got that Wolverine healing factor. So yeah, we have this whole thing is a dome, right? With these logs. They're pretty decently sized logs, kind of bent under pressure to become like a rounded dome. And what Wild Bill starts doing is chainsawing into one. Remember, it's under pressure. It's bent. Yeah. So what happens when he chainsaws through it? It catapults up and smacks him in the head. And what does he do? He says, "Calm down, bro. Just calm down." To the log.
He's a log mancer.
He's great. So we meet our second witness, right? It is a man named Bigfoot. He works as a Bigfoot. His identifying headgear is a Bigfoot head. What the fuck is this? There's no second witness. This is where the second witness would go. Uh-huh. But no, they're just going back to the trap in the daytime like they said they would. What the fuck?
What the fuck? They drive right up to it, too.
It gets a little bit confusing because they're using phrasing like, we're going to try to catch this bastard asleep. You're going to try to sneak up. And they're using phrasing like they're incredibly angry at the Midnight Whistler. And they're creeping up on him with their shotguns to his bedroom where he sleeps. And it kind of seems like they're out to murder him in his sleep.
They said they have their shotguns. What don't they have for detaining a Bigfoot? That's right, any means of detaining a Bigfoot.
Yeah, chains, Bigfoot handcuffs.
They brought nothing but shotguns. Like, either they're going to make him put his hands up and march him out of the woods, or nothing, or they're going to shoot him.
They didn't even, like, call the cops and say, how would you guys take down a shack?
Like, non-lethally. Oh, you don't have an option for that? Okay.
Okay. A shotgun to the face while it's sleeping, it is. Maybe that's what they told him. Oh my God! What if that's what the
police
cops told
tactical
him?
handbook? You're
Oh
right.
my God.
They called. So they're going back to the trap in the daytime. They're in a creek bed when they hear a knock and decide to ignore it because that's ridiculous. We've already established this Bigfoot would be completely blind. He can't even exist in the daytime.
Tree knock is a sure sign of Bigfoot, but not that one.
Not that one. We ignore that one. They arrive at the nest and don't, as we said, don't have a plan. They don't have the trap isn't done. They don't have a net. They don't have fucking jumbo zip ties. They got nothing. They don't have a big bag just to shove them in. Like there's nothing. They don't even have a camera because what we've established within the fiction of the show over and over again is that these show cameras don't count. Every time they set a trap, they have to say, we put our trail cam up, and then we go consult that trail cam because it's like the cameras don't exist. It's like there aren't cameramen.
Right.
It's not like The Office where they're like, well, I'm going to talk to the camera and wink at the cameraman and you're going to be a character. Within the canon of the show, those cameras, they just don't count for some reason. So they didn't even bring a camera.
For example, when in the last episode, when the Bigfoot hit Buck in the face with a door, they did not grab their crew's camera and go frame by frame saying, holy crap, we surely caught the grass man opening a door on on Buck's face. Like, it's unfortunate he got hurt, but this has to be like the camera was right there. Like that's ignored. Later they'll find like a grainy photo from a trail cam. It's like, this is the only photo that exists. Like, well, no, you have a photo of it opening a door into Buck's face. Why does that not count as a photo?
And it never does. Because they just know. They know their camera crew is so incompetent, they will never catch Bigfoot, so they just don't even try.
I love this scene so much because they drive right up to its nest. Or they say they're a quarter mile from the nest. At the pace they're going, that's only a 9-hour hike. But then what I love is that they stop and they give testimonies to the camera still. Like they're creeping up on the nest and they're like, all right, we're outside the Bigfoot's nest. And I'm like, this is a really noisy thing to do during a stealth mission. I think it's funny. Plus, in canon, these testimonials take place in real time with the rest of the events. They're not something they go in and film later, because we have seen them get interrupted by monsters during these testimonials.
Attacked by monsters. They have been mauled in the middle of a testimonial because they took the testimonial out while being mauled.
Yeah, they learned.
They're like, oh wait, I'm still in the middle of this. Yeah, this is a crazy scene because what happens is Trapper leans into the nest and you think like, this is where he says like, oh, okay, I guess he's not here. He must have moved on. And what he does instead is go, holy shit, he's in there. He is right there. And you're just like, if he had just had the cameraman look exactly where he looked, you would have been like, oh, there's a Bigfoot. So like, oh no, but you can't because it doesn't count. So what they have to do is they have to circle around to the front, to the entrance, which is it's so dangerous to go to because if he comes out, he's got to go through you. But this is just too good. So they circle around to the entrance and they find...
I'm sorry to interrupt. This might be the funniest thing that has ever happened on the show because when you say circle around, the door was 18 inches away from where they were standing. Like, if they would, like, have kept their feet in the same spot and leaned with their waist, they could have poked their head through the door.
This is not a building. It's an 8-foot diameter.
Yeah,
It was so fucking funny to me when it pulled out and revealed how close they were to the door and how they turned it into this fucking pincer stealth maneuver. It's almost like a
Naked Gun bit.
Yes. It's so funny.
It only gets funnier because after Trapper leaned in and saw Bigfoot just sleeping in there, I was like, oh my God, that's him. Let's go. And they lean over and walk through the door. Trapper says, oh, whoops, that's not him.
It's just a pile of straw. It's just
he was just wrong.
Grass, yeah.
There's no excuse.
I, trapper who know Bigfoot lore going back 4,000 years, and I know the exact location of their DNA tree locating back to a specific cave, mistook a sleeping Bigfoot for just a pile of grass.
For nothing. It's just, the way he says it is just, oh, I was wrong.
They create quite a
That's an
story,
option.
too, because they're like, they decide that he came in, he rolled around for a bit, then he made his bed, and then he left. They also decide that he's mad at them, and also still here in the neighborhood. But then they leave like, yeah, cool, that's the day. But like, they just said he's in the area. Like, nothing to worry about, guys. We have an angry Bigfoot with a personal vendetta somewhere very close to us. But that's a wrap on this scene. Like, they know they're in a show.
Don't worry,
so
he went
hard.
to his bachelor pad. He went to his secondary apartment that he keeps, as all animals do. So we return to Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack. They are looking for a place to put this trap. They're gonna anchor it into the ground so that the Midnight Whistler can't just rip it up. What the fuck? They're thinking like this now? That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
How many traps have they lost to specifically not anchoring it in the ground? They were never
Also,
going to learn, but
you need to acknowledge this is not a box. They got into a
it's
rut.
round.
They built like 15 consecutive box-shaped traps. They intentionally got that note like, no, make it a dome.
Functionally, it's still a box, but you're right. It's round. It's anchored to the ground. It's probably one of the best things they've built, or at least in comparison to that time they just found a van and were like, that's already a trap. Let's just put Bigfoot in a van. Which happened. I'm not exaggerating that if you're just joining us. And they tried to stuff Bigfoot in a van. Through the
top of a van, which is I think that's a good measure of its strength. So when you build a log out of or you build a dome out of little logs that an adult man could just bust through, I feel like
now,
you have your power.
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but the incredible thing here is they accounted for that. Because later when they're inspecting the trap, they didn't do this, but what Trapper says is and you laced unbreakable steel cables through all of this, right? And Willie's just like, yup.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They don't show any of that, but they think to say it.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
I count it. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you
I'm
do
so
that,
fucking proud of them.
Yeah.
It's like raising a stupid kid. I'm so proud. Are any of your kids stupid? Because I imagine this is what it's like when they first they finally get able to read at 12, and you're like, yes.
If my 7-year-old wrote this show, I'd be actually very frustrated with her. I'd say, sweetheart, you're in first grade now.
So we're building.
You can't be this.
I would love to take both of Sean's children on a Bigfoot hunt, including the baby, and see how quickly they do not make the same logical mistakes that this team makes. Well, why don't we do this during the day, Danny? That's a good question.
Good question.
Not until season 2, honey. So we're building the trap. And Wild Bill, as he does, he smokes a little too much rambunk, gets a little too rambunctious, and he runs up a tree like a meth squirrel, and then he hurtles out of the tree to land on his back. Now, he's I want to say a 58-year-old man, and not necessarily, he's in pretty good shape, but not, his bones aren't all
He could be
there.
25. It's impossible to know.
It's really hard to tell.
It's true. But it's been a little bit since we've seen him run straight up a tree and then fall completely out of it and land on his back. And it's just good to get back to basics here. It was really nice and refreshing.
Willie did the same thing, and only he it's clearly his first try of rappelling down a tree, and he gently lands on his feet just to show Wild Bill you don't have to hurl yourself from the top of a tree every time.
I disagree that it's his first time because he executes every step of that maneuver 20 times better than Wild Bill. He runs straight up that tree. There's a point they show him where he is standing perfectly horizontal, just with his core strength, holding both sides of the rope, and then he starts just easily rappelling and running backwards and lands softly on his feet, as though to say,
right.
Wild Bill, what the fuck are you doing?
It still seemed amateurish, I guess.
Do any of this.
He in the episode where they fought the alien from Aliens, he also did some rappelling in that, if I remember. So yeah, we know Willie has some training.
Yeah. No, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to like illustrate that side by side. What I was going to talk about is how he looks to the camera and says, one of the first testimonials that I believe is meant in all earnestness, he says, "The only workplace hazard we have around here is Wild Bill. Motherfucker, you work hunting monsters in the woods with crude traps that would kill a man if they went off.
But he
and
is
the
still
only
biggest
viable
danger.
hazard you consider is your friend Wild Bill."
Not wrong.
Yeah,
No,
he's
not
the
wrong.
one that will get the first confirmed kill on Mountain Monsters for sure.
And he just straight up continues. I mean, he could drop a limb on your head, or maybe he'll just fall out of a tree and land on you. And like,
Yep.
Yeah, he does.
He might just burst out of a bush while you're doing something like sharpening a knife or starting a chainsaw.
for a gag. And like, I know he's immortal, but I'm not. I didn't make that deal with the Bigfoot devil. We go to our second witness for real this time. This is Mikey. He's a true outdoorsman. Again, no headgear on Mikey. And Mikey says he was born and raised in New York, which is, this is their cue to like make fun of him.
Yeah. Well, he
Right?
did. Trapper's like, "Were you at Woodstock?" Like, he's like, "How are we going to have to shoot you dead, you fucking hippie?"
And I think so because Willie or Mikey's story is that a few months ago he was out mushroom hunting, which Jeff explains is a type of ginseng.
In Appalachia, people eat mushrooms. They can be used as money if you trade them for money. You can gather one other type of food, ginseng. I'm Jeff.
It's like some people will go and gather ginseng, some others will go and gather mushrooms.
Yeah, both the things. Fucking idiot,
It's a lot
Jeff.
like ginsenging, and that he doesn't know. He doesn't know what a vegetable is. He doesn't know what a fungus is. He doesn't know where they come from. He's just guessed. Anyway, Mikey was out growing his foraging for his special mushrooms, and what he found was that somebody had taken all of his special mushrooms, and that somebody was a Bigfoot. So Mikey got out his trail cam, and Huckleberry says, "Whoa, you don't seem like one to have much technology laying around." And Mikey says, "I do not, but I got my game cam and I have a photo." And instead of what is traditional on the show, pulling out like a real glossy 8x10, like Bigfoot headshot that they had made, he pulls out a chip, by which I mean an SD card. And it is the highest tech that has ever showed up on the show. It's so out of place.
It's a new era.
And they don't even flinch. They take it like, "I know what to do with this." No, you don't. As soon
Huckleberry
as
ate
that
it.
shot
He's
was
like,
over.
"I could use a chip. Thank you for the chip."
Now, does this go in the top mouth or the bottom mouth?
He's sitting potato chips or eating potato chips.
It's literally nothing what is on this cam. And now I've said that so many times before that listeners I'm sure are like, okay, no, it is nothing. It is just a smear of black with a single bright dust mote. That's
Didn't even put anything in my notes. Normally I make like a little, like a roast of how stupid it is. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Well, it's supposed to be an extreme close-up of its eyeball. Like it put its eye right up to the camera, like it recognized the trail camera as a camera and stuck its eye right up to it, is what the idea is supposed to be. Yeah, it's just blackness with like kind of a bright thing in the middle of it that I guess could be an eye if you wanted it to be.
It's a dust mote, like with light reflecting off of it, and they just zoomed way in on it. It's the least they've ever done for this show, which is crazy because everything else up until now has been so high effort. I was really thinking like they're pulling this shit together, and then at this vital juncture, they're like, whatever. And they make such a big deal out of it. Jeff tells him that's the closest shot of Bigfoot anybody has ever gotten in their life. Again, I know we're hitting this a lot, but Bigfoot opened a door into your cameraman. Yep. Like, Bigfoot actually hit your cameraman. That has to count as a closer shot.
I also like how that's not like a badge of honor for a photo.
Right.
Like that's not how you measure the greatness of a photo.
It's so close that we literally can make out no details of this creature or its anatomy or anything.
But nobody's got closer.
It's so close that it's literally just a blur. Incredible. But also from this photo, Trapper is going to say, we're going to try to rid the area of this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So why does eyeball?
And
why does that turn things around?
So again, they've talked to two witnesses, listeners. The first one said that he imitated the sound of a screaming Bigfoot child, and the Bigfoot drew close to that out of curiosity. The second witness says, I like to hunt mushrooms in this area, and suddenly one day I went out and there was no mushrooms. The Bigfoot ate them all. And the Ames team is like, we'll get him out of here. It's like, well, now hold on. You started the episode saying that your goal was just to prove he exists. Now you're mad at him eating all of the mushrooms. There have to be enough mushrooms in the forest to support this guy and one Bigfoot.
They don't
you can
belong
share.
to Mikey.
It's not even on his property.
Yeah, it wasn't. He was just wandering. It wasn't his crop or anything. He was just like, I would have liked to have had those. And they're like, don't worry, Mikey. We'll murder this ancient loving beast for you.
This entitled fucking hippie thinks he owns every forest mushroom.
Right, he loves it. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to get my mushrooms back. At the
I put that in my notes too.
Bigfoot's life?
Put that in my notes too. I just want my mushrooms back. These are not stakes. Like, I would have cut that from the show because I laughed out loud that's what, because like Bigfoot's going to take Harmonica Eric's wife. Like, he's coming for Wavy. He gets closer every time he plays that harmonica. He's like, I'm going to fuck your wife, Eric. But, that's some
wasn't
stakes.
what I took away, but okay.
It would literally be like if a guy claimed that, I don't know, an extremely elderly John F. Kennedy stole food from his refrigerator, and he's only curious about it because he's mad about the missing food.
Bring my fried chicken back.
Rather than, wait a second, there's a 115-year-old JFK who actually was not assassinated. It's amazing because, like, yes, this mythical creature, you've got to find it, not to prove that everything we know about the natural world is wrong, but because there are slightly fewer mushrooms in the forest. But then out there eating the mushrooms that nobody owns, and that really none of you should be eating, probably.
Mikey needs them for his anxiety therapy. Those are stakes.
Oh, and also Huckleberry just throws in that the creature knew the camera was there.
Yes.
Which is a mind-blowing thing to speculate that it knows technology.
Huckleberry also decides that they can use that. Like, he was investigating the camera and they can use that. I'm not going to spoil it for you listeners whether or not they do use that.
We'll see.
But,
we'll just have to see. So, all right. So Buck is driving back down. That's right. Buck has not been here this whole time. If you've noticed, we haven't mentioned Buck's antics. He was at work.
Yeah, got a job.
He was at his real job. He got a promotion, and that means he's got more responsibilities. He can't take unlimited Bigfoot leave anymore. And he says, it sucks, but I gotta do what I gotta do. End scene.
I sincerely hope that the show Mountain Monsters earned Buck a promotion at his job. That he threw his weight around. It's like, I was thinking about leaving and going to doing this show full time. I got this show on Destination America. It's really, gosh, it's taken up. And that didn't kind of like push them into like, look, all right, we'll elevate you from junior salesman to assistant salesman here at the the Forest golf cart shop.
I don't know. They pay about $1.50 more an hour. Back at the Trap Shack, Willie uses Wild Bill as furniture, is what I have written down here, and he loves it. I'm not going to elaborate on that. That happened.
See, I told you he was a battle cat. That's evidence. That's a battle cat move.
This is the point where Trapper and all the boys come to inspect the trap, and they are wildly impressed by it. This was fine TV magic to pretend that it was the nest at first, and then come and be like, you replicated the nest exactly. And then the brilliant move to be like, and of course you've woven adamantium all throughout this.
Right.
Or Bigfootium, the metal that saps his powers if he touches it. Like, yeah.
Because
wonderful.
otherwise these are 4-inch logs. Pre-scored by a maniac's errant chainsawing. Like,
right, no, but he carved Bigfoot runes into it, and now they're unbreakable. It's fucking great. Do this all the time. I'm so excited for them to do this again every time.
A
We'll
couple of
see.
notes. Couple of notes. One, this trap looks great. This is their best trap. It looks good. It looks really good. And like the door actually functions. There have been many traps up till now they've had to pretend that it's a thing. This took time to put together. It really did. And they took time to camouflage it. Now, that said, this team is extremely supportive of each other, and it always comes through. And when they see the trap for the first time, and even if it's purely a dog crap, the trapper will always say, "This is the best trap. This is better than I could have imagined." Here, something kind of magical happens where Buck sees it and says, "The creature will instantly spot this and out of curiosity have to go inside because it looks so much like his home." And then it cuts to Trapper saying, "This is completely camouflaged. It will be totally invisible." Because God forbid they get together and make sure they're making the same compliment toward the guy.
Or
so
just
so
only
good.
use one of those takes.
Yeah, that would have worked too.
You don't have to use both. They must use 100% of the footage they shoot.
I bet editing this show is hell. I just suspect that it is just because you've got to use everything. They have stuff that just openly conflicts. It all goes in. All of it.
It's a 40-minute show. They
It
filmed.
all goes in.
Exactly.
After listeners, if you're new to the show, after they come back from an ad break, they always replay the last full minute of the show that you just watched. There's no other show formatted that way. They're clearly stretching for time. But also, for example, we made a joke earlier that they went into the woods and then immediately ran into a trail and immediately heard sticks cracking. Like they ran into the Bigfoot right after they climbed out of their golf cart, as if they pulled off the highway, got out, boom, there's the Midnight Whistler 10 feet away. Ideally, you would film a bunch of B-roll of them going through the woods and getting tired and sitting down, taking a break. A little montage would be about 30 seconds long that implies hours have passed.
Right.
You wouldn't have to shoot a ton, but you would shoot some stuff and you would do dissolves just to fake it. They were out here all night. They were probably here 5-6 hours. And finally, after all, they never do that. They get out. It's lock and load. Oh, Bigfoot. He's right here every time.
Every time.
And it's because they didn't take the time to shoot that extra stuff that they could have stitched in.
Yep.
All they have to say is Bigfeets are a nomadic race. They're drawn by the freedom of the highway. They love to hitchhike, which is why you always find them right next to the
There you
highway.
go. That explains it. And yes, it looks like a beginner taekwondo class could kick their way out of this dome, but no, we've wired it with some unbreakable wire you can't see because we had camouflage.
With anti Bigfoot taekwondo, so that his spinning kicks will do nothing to it.
I want to make it clear that they bait this trap with fruit, which suggests that beings of flesh have no need to fear this creature. Sometimes they cover the trap in blood and meat and random organs, whatever. But this time, it's just a bunch of papayas, some fresh fruit.
Fruit, walnut. We've established he likes fruit. He likes walnuts, and he likes to save injured children. So, they could have caught a smaller Bigfoot and cut its Achilles tendon and put it in there.
Yeah,
That would have brought him out.
And they will use the phrase, "If he gets in here and that door closes, he belongs to us." And to which, again, you new listeners have to be asking, well, we've skipped something because they promised this last guy that they would get rid of Bigfoot because it was eating all of his mushrooms. That's their motivation. In the previous guy, the guy who had the harmonica, they said, look, you keep playing that harmonica, eventually Bigfoot's going to show up in your house and presumably harm you. So, okay, so once they get him in the dome trap, how does that equate to getting rid of him? Are they going to, again, riddle the trap with bullets? Are they going to put him in zip ties and drive him out of state and drop him off at a bus station in Pennsylvania? We've not skipped anything. They've not explained, and this is the 21st consecutive episode. Well, no, I apologize. There was that one where they called animal control on Hogzilla and said, we've got a Hogzilla, please come get it. Otherwise, no, they do not explain what the plan is, even though that's literally 100% of the thing driving the plot. What are the protagonists trying to do in the plot, they leave that unanswered in virtually every episode. It is not at all clear what they are intending to do with the Midnight Whistler once they get it in the trap. Well, it's in there. It's happily eating the fruit.
It says here in my notes, get him.
Again, if my first grade daughter came to me with this plan and did not see the problem with it, I'd say, honey, think about the plan. What are we missing?
So it's finally time to hunt him. We're on a night hunt, and Trapper opens it up with his speech, and he says, "Now, we're hot on Bigfoot's ass. This Midnight Whistler is more athletic, agile, faster than any Bigfoot-type creature we've ever seen."
What?
Based on what?
Yeah, what the fuck? Where are they getting that?
Based on what? But also, why is it so horny? Why, like, more athletic is a crazy way to put that. Like, that, he's got more booty than any Bigfoot we've ever seen. He's more caked up than any Bigfoot we've ever seen.
Animals are not athletes.
Yeah.
They're not training. He does not, that's not what an athlete is.
I can't help but picture him in, like, his real high socks and his short shorts. It's a little hot. I don't know.
It's the Bigfoot's basketball court.
So they're going to split into two teams to drive this Bigfoot towards their trap.
Wait,
they're officially...
Hold on.
Well, yeah. Well, now, Sean, they've rebooted the show again. You're thinking of old Mountain Monsters. This is the new. So they're doing a new thing where they're splitting into two. It's going to be two teams.
Okay.
They have like a graphic that shows it. I don't know if we have a screenshot.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so one team goes in one direction. Now, Now, when I say one direction, what that implies is that there's a second direction. And I think that's the key. I think that's the way the other team should be going. So in essence, you'd have two teams forming a kind of, try to imagine two fingers coming together to, I suppose you'd call it a pinch. Now, drop the H, add an Congratulations. You have Bigfoot right where you want him. Inescapable Fruit Restaurant Dome.
No, the term Sean's trying to arrive at there, it's called a West Virginia man squeeze.
So we're splitting into two teams, and they officially call the second team Buck's team now, which is big news. It used to just be, I think it used to be Jeff officially was the second in command, and Buck fucking took it from him. It is officially Buck's team. It is Buck, Willie, and Wild Bill heading west, and when Buck finds that out, he steps right into his role in leader, and he looks to the other guys and says, "I'll get you guys right to that nest. You guys will be impressed by that."
I mean, we were just there, but
yeah, that'll be amazing. I can see it. It's 9 feet that way, Buck.
Yeah, we're all right here. And Wild Bill does the little Catholic, the little cross on his chest with his hand, which is, again, that's the very last time they will ever reference Wild Bill being a devout Christian.
Blessing their Sasquatch murder. Lord God, give me the strength to murder this sleeping Bigfoot.
I love that he chose Catholicism as the branch of Christianity with which to fight Bigfoot. I don't know. It makes sense. He would respect the order of it. Fight demons, you fight Bigfeet. It makes sense. I love that Buck just told him, you guys are going to love it. You guys are going to be real impressed by that. Second team is Jeff, Huckleberry, and Trapper. They're coming from the east in the other side of the pincer movement. And they break up, and immediately Willie sees what he says is an eye in the tree. Just clears it. That's an eye. There's an eye in the tree. And that's a crazy way to put that. It could be a tree with eyeballs. It could be anything. He doesn't say what size. He doesn't say if it's glowing green, which is the one indicator, I would say, a very notable indicator that they could use to determine if it's a Bigfoot or not, whether or not it's glowing green. Buck says, "Don't worry, everybody. I know a classic squirrel hunting trick. And what that is I'm going to take a branch and throw it over there so it's scared by the noise. Only squirrel hunters know this trick." Invented and patented by squirrel hunters, just like only mechanics knew that ancient trick of taking a picture of a car so you know how to put it back together. This isn't ancient hillbilly knowledge that can't be lost to time. It's just like the first thing you would think of, and they're like, no, old hillbilly trick. Dates back 4,000 years to the time of the Iroquois.
And again, not to keep making Sean's children characters in our show, but I think if you asked his actual child look, there's a squirrel in the tree, let's try to scare it away, I think without any further prompting, she would grab a stick and throw it at.
Yeah, it would occur to her. If she said to me, how could I possibly do that? I'd say, quit fucking around. Quit said to me, how are you an idiot? Like you're on Mountain Monsters.
So the Bigfoot hears the tree, the branch that Buck throws, and gives him a knockback, and they ignore that. That's nothing, they decide.
Yep.
So they find the nest. Yeah, didn't do anything. They find the nest, and Buck decides he's gonna ease right on in there. Once again, Wild Bill does the sign of the cross. He's trying it so hard, he will never try it again.
Yeah.
It did not test well with Catholics, I guess. Which turned out to be 0% of their audience. They all pile in to Bigfoot's nest. They all pile inside of it just to marvel at it in mid-hunt.
They
It's like,
completely
wow.
forget that they're hunting. They're just like, look at all this space. Oh, beautiful
It's so big.
choices. They're reading us magazines. They're just fucking around in there.
And the Midnight Whistler leaps onto the ceiling because, whoops, that's right, it's his house, and he lives here.
Again, we are the monsters. We have intruded in its home where it peacefully eats its fruit, where again, it has been peacefully eating fruit for 4,000 years, and there's no record of it ever so much as having inconvenienced anyone other than it ate the mushrooms that other guy decides he now owns.
This did mark the landmark third time we have home invaded Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Still trying to prove he exists, but we've repeatedly basically done breaking and entering on his homes multiple times.
And every single time, he has just like slapped the walls and been like, get out, go, get out of here. You guys gotta go.
Stop eating my walnuts.
I like this because Willie flees for his life. Like, Willie's just fucking, I'm out of here. And they go to commercial. So for about 5 minutes, you think, wow, Willie's a coward now? And it finally comes back after like a long recap and you realize that, oh no, Willie was, after the bash, the Bigfoot ran away and Willie was trying to chase him down to kill him.
But they make it look like he's a coward before the commercial break. Because everybody's like, Willie, where are you going? And he's
Don't leave us.
like he's just leaving a urine trail like Jeff.
So here, this is something that happens often in the show where they're like, hey, we just saw Bigfoot. We just got attacked by Bigfoot. You got to get over here, even though Bigfoot's gone. So now the team comes
to the
back
other team. Like they've carefully done the pincer movement, and they'll call the other team. And like immediately after they get in place, they'll call the other team like, we got Bigfoot over here. And they immediately abandon their whole plan.
Right.
Instantly.
I think the Bigfeet, they call this the reverse pincer, where it's a one Bigfoot team. They get the pincer teams hunting you to gather in one spot. It's very carefully executed. What you do, if you're listening, any Bigfoots, you just make any noise. You just let yourself be known. Hi, I'm Bigfoot, and then leave. And then they take all of their plans and undo them. Even though their only plan was to catch you, as soon as they get close to you or think you're there, they abandon all of them and just clump for one good AoE
it's
attack.
Strategic merging of teams. I think instead of it's converted from a pincer movement to like a hillbilly fisting movement.
Okay.
And like just all a united front there. So
I'm just saying it couldn't be dumber in any way.
Yeah. Yes, but that's what happened. They decided to abandon the whole thing, group up in one place to marvel. And what they're doing now is marveling at the place where Bigfoot just was. They say, like, he ran right up that cliff face. He's long gone.
Which is not an option.
Cliff face.
Yeah, we can't. It's too steep. We're not going up the hill, guys.
No, we can't go around it. We're just done. Now, this is where the episode ends on any other episode of Mountain Monsters. This is where they would give up. They would say, well, we proved he's not coming back here again. We're not climbing that. That's the end. No, they decide they're not giving up. In fact, they're going to make a new plan and keep at it because he's still really close. The most important note we've ever left them that they never, ever, ever, ever take is, why are you giving up? You're in the middle of a Bigfoot foot race right now.
Yes.
Why are we just stopping? They decide they're not. What they're going to do is all pile into the forest golf cart and go back towards where they found those tree knocks earlier, because maybe there are other Bigfeets. And on the path, on the way back, driving back there, they stop. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And I need a minute. I need to center myself here. This is the best thing that's ever happened in any form of media. Ever will happen in any form of media. What they find is, very objectively, in the headlights of the Forest golf cart, they see 3 sticks leaning together like the Bigfoot Witch Project. Just a big lean-to of crude sticks and a mound. They find a mound of dirt with some rocks around it. And they all say, holy shit, this is something huge. They get out of the Forest golf cart, they go stand around the mound, and they say, these are humped up mounds of dirt. They are 8.5 to 10 feet long. Gentlemen, what I think we have here is a Bigfoot cemetery. We have found a Bigfoot cemetery. Now, they do fall to infighting over whether or not this is a gravesite, and if it is, whether or not this is Bigfeets or really big Indians.
Okay.
Because
the other option.
If they are Bigfeet, then now, like, you're done. You just call the local university and say, hey, dig up. We've got 4, what we think are 4 fully formed, maybe even recently buried carcasses of Sasquatch. Like here they are. You can test the bones. You can do whatever. All of you, like, you can get DNA. Like, yeah, here you go.
Along
we're done.
With proof of ceremonial burial, a savage culture of a lost species of creature.
Yeah,
now,
and we found this because we were trying to hunt and kill one because it was eating a guy's mushrooms. We were going to kill it in its sleep.
Get it, science.
We found where it slept, and we were going to come back while it was fast asleep and slit its throat in its bed. But we didn't get a chance to do that, so here you go, science.
The yes ending ends here because Trapper immediately says, "I don't fucking think this is a gravesite," and then Willie takes his side and he's like, "Have you ever seen a gravesite like this?" And they're like, no, I haven't. So he's like, what makes you fucking think it's a gravesite? Like, I don't know if he's going through a divorce, but he is just tired of playing make-believe. He is just, guys, we're fucking grown men.
Really weird. It's really weird. I don't know what's going on because there's no reason for the improv to be like this. Like, it's whatever you're looking at is something. Now, again, it looks like their team put this together very crudely, but like, here's an example of 2 consecutive lines in the improv. Buck, there's Bigfoot buried in these. Trapper, I don't think so. I mean, generally that's not, and they just go round and around like that for a while.
I don't think so. Plus nothing. Plus I add nothing.
There's
no and nothing.
And then Jeff fucks it up even further from the no, where Willie's like, what makes you think it's a gravesite? And Jeff goes, well, Native American graves are like this. And then Willie won't even accept this. He's like, have you ever seen a Native American gravesite like this? And then Jeff says, I've seen Native American burial sites, and it's a whole lot like it. like
now,
they're moving the goalposts so far away from Bigfoot and still arguing about whether they're playing a fucking sport.
Buck has the best way to shut all of this down. Buck says, no, this can't be an Indian burial ground because there are no active Indians here. Not a one. He has checked the Indian databases. He's 1/16th Indian, so he has Indian radar. He knows that no Indians are in this area. None moved here. They all left. They haven't moved back. Not a single one. Not even 1/16th like him. I love the implication that if they were back, then fine, this could be an Indian burial ground because they still would be burying their kin like this out in the woods with their hands marked by crude stones.
The point is, it would be more absurd to find an Indian out here than a Bigfoot, is what Buck is trying to say.
Luckily, Buck has one way to prove it, and what that way is, he gets down on his hands and knees, sticks his hands into the dirt, and starts digging up Bigfoot's grave.
It is falling apart.
Either A, to see if he can find a Bigfoot corpse down there, which, by the way, is hilarious because I don't know if people know this, but the reason you bury bodies so deep is so that animals don't dig them up. That's, you don't bury somebody 6 feet deep. It's not just a ceremonial thing. It's specifically so that dogs don't come and dig up your grandma's, skull. So Buck here starts pawing at the ground like he's going to dig down. He's going to move several 100 pounds worth of earth with his bare hands to get down to where the Bigfoot bones are.
I love this.
More
okay,
importantly,
so the shit's falling apart, right? Like they're having an RPG campaign and it's dead. And then, like, I don't know, I guess try to picture if you're watching the Royal Rumble and suddenly 5 guys say, hold on, none of these punches hurt. Everyone stop, something's wrong. I don't think any of this is real. And then one of them says, no, guys, it is real. And then stops and tries to dig up a grave with his bare hands. Like, that's basically what we're seeing here.
Now, hold on. Let's examine this a little bit more, because Buck is doing this to settle an argument that either this is a Bigfoot, in which case we are defiling Bigfoot's grave,
right?
Which is how you get Bigfoot ghosts. Best case scenario, you're getting Bigfoot ghosts. Worst case scenario, you are digging up an Indian out here in the woods.
Right.
I don't think there's no good solution to this, but here we are. We're digging up Bigfoot's grave. We're defiling a Bigfoot burial ground. And as soon as he does, as soon as his hand goes in there, instant high-pitched coyote yipping and whistling, which is not what they agreed that this would sound like, but it is the Midnight Whistlers. There's a ton of them, and what they do here is great. Jeff pans with his thermal up the hill, and there are 5 shapes up there, all vaguely humanoid, all vaguely, I want to say, Ames crew shaped, like big feet that have gotten, pretty out of shape, that life has gotten away from these big feet.
I genuinely thought this shot was the Bigfoot's POV. I thought, are we seeing this
like
from the
Predator
Bigfoot,
style.
or did the Bigfoot steal Jeff's camera?
But I'm so proud they thought to fake the shot by all going to the top of the hill and then having somebody else film them from the bottom.
Yeah, they finally thought to use the thermal in a way that you could be like, look at that blob is a Bigfoot.
Yeah, it is clearly a man shaped. I mean, clearly, a man that could use some work, but it's something. It's something. And so they have established it's the best they've ever established that, like, oh no, something's here and we're in trouble. Like, whistling from all around them, they all jump in their forest golf cart, whooping and hollering like they're having just like a really good time, instead of fleeing for their lives because they forgot that part of it. And they flee from all the big feet after again defiling their burial ground. Defiling Bigfoot's grave is what we did in this episode. God damn it, it's so good.
It's worth reminding everyone, they do have guns. I don't know what the point of the guns was. Buck does say the words, we don't want to shoot him.
That's the first time that's implied, though.
Because, again, it opens up, they do not have tranquilizer darts. They do not have a net.
Yes.
They do not have cables to tie it up. What is your plan then? Because it's definitely, you cannot say, well, we just wanted to document it exists. You promised the first witness that this thing is going to come into your house unless we get rid of it. You promised the second witness this thing is going to keep eating your mushrooms unless we get rid of it. We will get rid of it. And then now it's like, okay, well, we broke into its house multiple times. We tried to kill it while it was in its bed asleep. And we went and defiled its grandparents' graves. And now we're running, screaming from the woods. Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
This was exactly what we wanted to do.
This is exactly how I would make a Bigfoot ghost, by the way. This is precisely.
Yeah. In fact, why hasn't somebody done this? Like, I am going to do this now. I'm going to write something where somebody finds a Bigfoot burial ground and disturbs it, and now it's Bigfoot poltergeist, the only thing better than a poltergeist.
So now the episode is completely over, right?
Right. Trapper says,
Done.
We thought the hunt for the Midnight Whistler was over, so we left. We just went ahead and left. We discovered his nest, we heard his whistle, we found it, it's an important discovery, and then we got the fuck out of there. And then just as you're screaming at just as you're screaming at the television, you've established they're all totally blind in daytime. Just come back to the Bigfoot grave in the daytime, dig up a Bigfoot skeleton. No, they leave forever. Except, 10 weeks later, Trapper walks alone through the brush at night. Trapper says, we thought the hunt was over, so we left Central Kentucky. As the weeks passed, we learned it was a burial ground, and I knew I had to go back. We came here to find proof Bigfoot does exist, and here, in the cold dirt of Central Kentucky, he digs something up, he looks at it in shock. Son of a bitch, I just found it. End
Cut
of episode.
to black. Yes.
Amazing.
I love it.
So they just discovered the concept of continuity. They were just like, in their meetings, they said, what if something we did this episode, it's still counted next episode? What if like, I don't know, like things had meaning beyond when we was looking at them? It's amazing. I'm so proud of them. I never thought we'd get here.
I gotta say, I don't even think they needed this, because as soon as they left, I'm like, well, obviously you can't go back to the magical labyrinth burial grounds. Like, this is a Lost Woods situation. They stumbled upon that burial ground. They'll never be able to find it again because of the way Bigfoot magic works. I'm fine with that. But this one, it's just like at the same spot, which means it took this guy, this Bigfoot hunter, 2.5 fucking months for this idiot to remember he knows where there's a Bigfoot burial ground. Like he just like it occurred to him 10 weeks later, like, oh, right, I know where they bury their dead.
Like he was in the shower 2 months later, like, oh shit, he ran out here in his towel. Just, wait a minute. You know what Bigfoot graves have? Big feet. Oh shit.
Now, one other thing they did here I want to ask you guys about, because it is extremely rare that they don't use the trap. Like, they have a couple of times pretended to have caught something. Usually they'll hear the trap door closed and they'll get there, and either there's like the back has been bashed out where the creature has escaped, or it outsmarted them and it closed the trap and then ran away. But they usually come back to the trap. It's extremely rare that they build it and set it up and they set, they get the bait and all that, and then they simply don't acknowledge it again. Like here, they never come back to it. Do you think it's possible it got damaged or something before they shot that day, or because was really surprising to me because they put a lot into it.
Yeah, it was one of their best looking. See, they have done this before where they're like, "Fuck it, we're not using the trap." But that was when Willie just showed up in a van, and it's like, "Let's put Bigfoot in the van," and that was when they resorted to like box on a stick. And they're like, fuck it. This one looked great. Like it was a big thing. I think they must have come up with Bigfoot burial ground like late in the episode, and just to be fair, they were correct to say, oh, that's it. Like we're doing that.
Maybe they didn't want to wreck it because like maybe this was like an actual like playground dome for like a local family, and they built it for them. And so, like, they didn't want to, like, bash through one of the walls or dig under it or something.
This was Mikey's Hobbit hut, where he does his mushrooms and looks for God. Can we borrow your God hut for Bigfoot hunting? Yeah, man. I mean, you got to get me those mushrooms back, though. Just, I love it. So, clearly, we have ended on our cliffhanger. First cliffhanger of their entire lives. They invented the concept of a cliffhanger right here. It's huge. Right. I'm going to tell you, I just found this proof in the grave. Bum, bum, bum. Next episode. Can't wait to get to it. Can't wait to tell you guys all about it. But in the meantime, what was everyone's favorite quote of this episode? Sean.
This midnight whistler thought that the playing of the harmonica was a immature Bigfoot in distress. I put asterisks all over that line. I laughed my ass off. 6
paragraphs of notes underneath. All right, I'll go next. Mine was when they had first disturbed Bigfoot's grave. I love saying that sentence. They had first disturbed Bigfoot's grave, and Huckleberry was giving the testimonial as they are fleeing from the disturbed Bigfeet. He says, "We gotta scoot our asses off this Bigfoot burial ground." All right. Jason.
I have 2. 1, this I straight up am going to get this tattooed on my back. The full phrase, "The word of God gives me the wisdom and the knowledge, and the United States Marine Corps gives me the mentality and the bravery to hunt these mountain monsters." But when they were arguing over the Bigfoot graves, and finally the way the improv is ended is by Buck saying, and I quote, "I'll tell you what, there's one way to find out. Hold my gun." I like that quote because I do think those are going to be Buck's last words someday. Yeah. Hopefully decades from now.
They were. Like, "Hold my gun," and what follows is, in little parentheses, "digs up Bigfoot's grave."
It implies that, like, the other option was just putting a few rounds into Bigfoot's grave.
You know what his very first thought was, and I'm proud of him for restraining himself, but it was shoving the stock into the dirt to use like a shovel with like the barrel against his gut.
Yep.
Because you had to be a Bigfoot teacher, you had to open up your mouth. You had to be a Bigfoot teacher, all your friends were so knocked out. You had to have the last word last night. You know what everything's about. You had to have the white hot spotlight. You had to be a Bigfoot last night. Whoa, whoa.